Assalamu alaikum. Sahil Adeem has not been only misguiding Pakistani youths, but he has been going around the world, especially addressing Muslims in overseas and advocating in a way political Islam, sometimes in a diplomatic way, sometimes openly. One of his videos was uploaded 11 days ago. Let me see that. Apparently, it seems to be an old video he addressed at London School of Economics, talking about Muslim identity and other people. Some of those students may have graduated, but I would like to draw the attention of the students of London School of Economics towards this religious bigot who has been advocating political Islam, and basically he's from the group of young Muslim radicals in a way, who have been trying to offer a conservative interpretation of Islam. So the students of LSC might want to know that this is a guy who openly advocates or defends at least the marriage of girls as old as 4 years. And recently he went to the extent of saying that a girl could be married off even before her first menses at a public radio. Earlier, at a TV show, publicly he said that in presence of some guest, and naturally nobody can do anything against him in Pakistan. Nobody can uh, sort of put a question on his bigotry. He said the same thing a few years ago during a podcast with Shehzad Ghayas, a Pakistani podcaster, and he romanticizes the rule of Afghan Taliban, believing that they have already imposed Sharia, and Afghan Taliban are the modern barbarian who have shut down most of the schools and educational institution, putting a lot of restrictions on women in Afghanistan. They cannot work, they cannot go to colleges and universities, they cannot run their businesses. Their public life is almost invisible, but they are allowed to beg along the roads and footpaths sitting there. So that government is eulogized by Sahil Adeem. Before I tell you more about this guy, you need to understand his outright lies. Some people call him charlatan. Even according to Google search, he has publicly said many times that he graduated from the University of Chicago and Metropolitan University of Canada. But according to Google search, many people cast a skeptical eye on those claims, and people are very skeptical towards his academic credential. He has never come up with a concrete evidence that he has really done those degrees from those prestigious institutions. Anyway, let us draw our attention towards the lies that he has been resorting for years now and getting away with it, because in Pakistan he has developed a sort of cult, a large following running into hundreds of thousands, and those people are not ready to listen to anything against him. They do not want to critically analyze his blatant lies. So recently, in one of his podcasts with Hum TV, a Pakistani channel, he said that a civilization has been discovered which is 140,000 years old. And in reality, the oldest civilization, which is believed to be Sumerian, is hardly 4,000 years ago. So you can have an idea about the level of knowledge that this guy has. Even a student of grade 4 who may have studied a bit history or social sciences might know that the oldest civilization lies in the fertile Crescent, Babylonian, Sumerian. Then we also talk about some other oldest civilization like that of Egyptian, Mexican, Indus Valley. So there is a big gap between 4,000 and 140,000. In reality, what happened that some scientists and archaeologists found two skulls of Homo erectus in Indonesia, in the Sunda land, in the seabed. So earlier it was widely held perception that the Homo erectus may have lived in part of Java, but now they believe they were scattered, and Leiden University carried out research and they also publish it. But this guy never bothers to check facts, and he knows that in Pakistan he can get away with this lie. So this was one of his lies. Then he said that Sumerians discovered the solar system 36,000 years ago, and they have 26,000 tablets and all that. Although the actual date of tablets is believed to be somewhere between 500,000 and 2 millions, he says 26,000 tablets. Again, Sumerian civilization is only 4,000 years old, so there cannot be any question of them discovering it, 36,000 years ago, because they did not exist at all. Then he talked about a certain prophet who is known as Lut, saying that God, in a way, cursed his nation, sending wrath with the people of that particular prophet facing the wrath of God, and God used perhaps phosphorus to burn them. And even today, you just lit a matchstick in some places in Mediterranean where that particular nation used to live, and then it could ignite fire. Now, you might know as a student of history or maybe archaeology that there could be certain for phosphate rock, like raw phosphate rock, which is common. This is essentially the rock which does not trigger any fire because it contains calcium, phosphate, sand, and clay, and it is not combustible at all. But there is another type, contaminated rock, which is considered dangerous. If the rock is mixed with other materials like pyrite or organic matter, it may self-heat or catch fire under specific conditions. But this guy claims that you can still lit a matchstick and it could trigger fire in that particular Mediterranean area. By the way, Lut was originally from Iraq, migrating to a certain part of Canaan at that time, which is now a part of Palestine. So it does in a way uh, lie close to Mediterranean. Then during the same podcast, he said Jupiter, Mercury, and other planets, they are Earth. A blatant lies. And this guy claims to be very scientific. This guy claims to have 2 degrees from 2 prestigious universities of the world. Then he boasts a lot. He brags a lot. He might brag about his wealth. He might say that I can speak about Allah Akbar for 5 consecutive days without repeating even a single sentence. While if you look at his lecture, he repeats so many things so many times. So that is another thing. Then, being the student of London School of Economics, you might be aware of history, especially that of Christianity. If you haven't read it, please go and check it. In one of his lectures, he said that the Council of Nicaea, which is a famous, that was a famous council, especially in the history of Christianity, was held in 285 AD, and Prophet Muhammad came 400 years after that council meeting. It means that Prophet Muhammad was born in 685, although he was born, uh, although he passed away in 632. So you can have an idea that this guy talks about Islam and Islamic history, and people might say that you do not know the the date of birth of your own prophet. Then he misquoted Christ, attributing a saying of Christ to an emperor. And he said that during the Council of Nicaea, the emperor says, render to the Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. Now, this is the famous saying of Christ. This is not the saying of any emperor. And he said that the emperor, in a way, talked about secularism and religion. So He asserts that the emperor separated religion and church. While that is an outright lie, because those who have studied international relation or history of Western Europe, they know very well that the emergence of secularism could be witnessed in 17th century, especially after the religious war, which is also known as 30-year war, claiming more than 3 million people, with some historian going to the extent of saying that around 8 million people perished in that war. So naturally, that war was primarily fought in the name of religion. So that's why people realized that religion should be your private matter. So that was, in a way, the genesis of secularism. It was not the case that soon after that war, one of the states declared that it would be secular. That was not the case. Primarily, Nicaea, the Council of Nicaea discussed Arian Christianity and Roman Catholic Christianity. So this guy, Sahil Adeem, is completely wrong here, and he's distorting fact. Then he said that Afghan Taliban said in the Doha Agreement that give Afia Siddiqui. You can go through the 4 chapters of Doha Agreement, and you could yourself find out if such an article or such a demand was inserted or made part of Doha Agreement. Again, he's uh, lying here. Then he said 80 for one of in his lectures he said 85% of world's inhabitants lived under the government of Hazrat Umar during the time of Umar, the second caliph. Now imagine that time Muslim made it to Hind or South Asia or Sindh during the time of Umayyad in 8th century. They did the same thing in Al-Andalusia or southern Spain during the time of Umayyad. So South Central North America had not been discovered at that time. Australia was not discovered. Muslim were not ruling over China or India, right? Islam, the presence of Islam was almost insignificant, barring a few areas in China, a few areas in the India, especially in Kerala, in southern part of India, where Arab traders, even before Islam, um, they used to travel there. And after Islam, they did marry some local women in southern India who came to be known as Mopla, but they were not there. So how could possibly Hazrat Umar be ruling over more than 85% of world's population? So you can have an idea about the amount of exaggeration, the height of exaggeration that this guy hits. And he knows very well that in Pakistan, nobody can question him. And he is doing the same thing all over the world. So I'm just trying to mention his lies. I'll do different parts and uh, talk about his ideas as well. Then he says Mayan civilization evaporated within 24 hours. Could you please imagine? Christopher Columbus landed Bahamas in 1492, and then there were, conquistador Francis Pizarro, Cortez, and others. There were terrible wars, massacre, genocide. It takes, um, um, a lot of time for a civilization to disappear. So, in case of Mayan civilization, it took decades or possibly centuries, and that did not evaporate. Of course, people from Mayan civilization, a large number of them were killed, but they still exist. Even today, they exist. The people who claim to be from Mayan, Aztec, and Inca civilization, they are still there in what used to be called in the New World. They are still there. So these are the lies of this guy. Then he has very strange ideas. For instance, as I have told you, he believes that girls as old as four could be married. He asserts that women should be covered from head to toe. It means they should be putting shuttlecock. And now he cites Maulana Maududi. He was a conservative mullah who said that sexual arousal or sexual sensation begins after you look at somebody's face. So if you look at a woman's face, it will cause sexual arousal or sexual sensation. Now the question is that, does this feeling lie in men only, or women also have this feeling? If women have this feeling, then it means that men should also be covered. But this guy would not put that formula there. In some matters, he is conservative. When it comes to his own personality, he would not that. The type of dress, that branded dress that he puts on, is highly objected by traditional mullah, but there he would not listen. But he does listen to them in matter of marriage, underage marriage, in matter of veil or parda. Then he justified and defended in many speeches and podcasts that you can drink camel urine. I don't have any comment. You can just think about this guy. He, like Dr. Zakir Naik and other conservative mullahs, believe that, although there are some other scholar like Maulana Ilyas Hassan who believes that no such thing happened at all. And there is another religious scholar who believed that it was prescribed for a certain tribe that was planning against Muslim, or that was planning to turn against Islam, stuff like that. So these are, before we discuss this person, I wanted you to know about his lies. I wanted you to know about his ideas, but I will speak more about his ideas and the type of radical ideology that he wants to preach in more episodes. So this is just part one, and I'll do more parts on it so that you would know that.